Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. We're going to continue our special light and fun edition of summer program of one single Chinese character a day. And we have been unpacking some beautiful concepts, like beautiful itself in the past few days. And welcome to day 8. We're talking about some relatively boring stuff, I guess, but it has a significant, like it has a complexity of how the society was organized. I think after this episode, you probably can understand, and me myself too, by preparing for this episode, I got new understandings of my own, like culturally, how society was organized back then. So 是 is this Chinese character. I translate as a fair. That's probably like the first layer of meaning. And you can see here, contemporary English can translate so many different things onto this 是, depends on how it's paired with, how it's context. But 是, okay, look at this. 3-finger hand symbol, and it's particularly right hand. This is a right hand, and with a staff through it. That means right hand was writing something. And before, I thought the top of it simply means, this is somebody's head, and this is the headgear, because in ancient times, the government officials, they wear special headgear, and they have special gowns with special patterns to mean a certain rank or function of them. That was the ancient kind of a uniform, to make them distinction, to make them official, like appointed by the emperor or something, right? And now looking at here, I realized, oh, I was wrong. This shape of one horizontal line with a box below it, with a vertical line, that actually is a special character. That whole shape means the documentation, almost like a librarian, like somebody who keep information back then. And I translate this as staff. It means this person actually was not government official. It doesn't have the power of decision. They are just note takers. They're just people who are processing information, storing information, recording information. They are the facilitators. They are not the decision makers or deal makers, or somebody who has the power to govern a region, because that person is this government official looks like this. I'm going to talk about that later. But this, now look at it. I have new idea just flash into my mind. So this, according to scholars, that means kind of a container. Probably it's true. Like ancient times, there were some like a documentation, almost like before our digital age, before the search function. When we went to the libraries, we go through all that index card, right? And in cabinets of index cards. That's how English information was stored. I guess that's a kind of a gateway for us to understand ancient practice of storing information, cabineted in a certain way. And so probably this looks like a kind of a storage of the note-taking documents. Oops. But I have a second thought, just besides the physical cabinets, something in that scale was depicted in this frame, that it could also mean this horizontal line means number 10, and it's overlaying this mouth symbol. The mouth symbol is always with this up tilted corner. It's kind of like looking like a mouth, right? So 10 mouths. That in Chinese actually means ancient. It's 10 generations of mouth, like word of mouth, basically. But with the hand holding the pen, that means it's written history to tell like 10 generations later what's happening now. And that was, I guess, the core essential meaning of the staff. This is a note taker, note keeper, and they are filing away the happenings now for the later generations to judge, or for later generations to review like what happened back then. And so that the future generation could know better how to do it. So that whole record keeping system was captured in here. And they are basically history writers. They are keeping records for future generations. And that's their function. And now come to Guan. Guan, this is Li. Okay, Guan Li in contemporary Chinese, we pair them together, no distinction. But in ancient times, these are staff. They don't have decision power. Guan is the person who are appointed officially by the emperor, or however the hierarchy back then, right? They were appointed by the government, by the emperor, to govern a certain district for them. And here, inside here, two boxes connected in a line, you can view it as organized or registered residents of a certain region or district. So it's your constituent, I guess, in American English here. And then this big arch with a chimney, it's you're overlooking. Like that's your domain. That's your district you're looking over. So this represents the land or the border, and this represents the population within that land. And this is under your control. I guess this little knob thing is it's kind of authority, the power, or stem. Like you have the stem to make it official. And you can see the same structure of here in this army character. And army here, this symbol is upside down. It means here, it means here. And one is upside down, it's not here. It means everywhere else, but not here. It means surrounding this thing. And the surrounding by a lot of people, crowd, right? Registered, organized, crowd or population, that means army. So we see similar things here, and then we can deduce, okay, this is the governor that overwatch this region, this district, versus here it's only somebody who keep records. And a fair came from this line of work. They're not government officials. So I was wrong earlier to say this is government official was point. It turned out in ancient times, at least in some part of the dynasties in China, the government officials were appointed by the emperor. And then they would organize their cabinet, I guess. Similar, like their staff, they are going to recruit and they are going to pay out of their salary of these people who are supporting them. So they are not officially appointed by the government. The staffs are just staffs, but officials, government officials are the ones who make the decisions. So shi came from this historical, like history writer or document keeper thing. And then that represent government processing of things, government handling of things, because I mean, decision was made. And then policy was made, right? And then the execution, the communication, all that was taken care of by the staff, by, you know, it eventually means the processing of things, right? Becomes the action, the proceeding of things, not then make this affair, this meaning. So in contemporary, we can pair it, there's a shi with 事情 means happening, and 事物 means things, right? Means just the thing, right? And then it can be translated as matter as well. And when it comes with 事 and 业, then that's your career, or 事物, like an affair, like a government affair, like even more formal, right? And the 事 can also means a job. So it depends on the context. This affair, this originally government history keeper, record keeper function, then represent happening, like recorded happening. If it's recorded, it's formal. It's not verbal recording. It's written down. So it makes things formal. So yeah, eventually it can be a verb as well to work or serve, like 做事办事, right? And then 侍奉 or 侍服. These can also be, you know, used as a verb. So that's our affair. And I'm using this two White House speaker's image to represent our contemporary understanding of what 是 is they are not government officials. They are appointed by government officials. They don't have a power to decide, no decision-making power of them, but they are communicators. They are contemporary communicators. They are the forefront face of communicators. I'm sure the whole cabinet of the White House would have record keepers that kind of written things, document things down, but they represent the staff side of government running. And 是 is, came from this history in Chinese of this government handling. They are the handlers, the keepers, but they're not decision makers. All right, caching intercurrency of thinking by one word a day with Sophie. See you another day.